The Gothic Remake demo came out about a week ago, and well, I care enough about the game to make a video on it. I'll start this off by telling you that I never actually got to play through the first Gothic as a kid. I didn't have a PC, instead I had a Nintendo 64, and then a GameCube, and then finally a PlayStation. After going back now and playing the original Gothic, I know for sure that I would have been absolutely in love with this game if I had been able to play it as a kid. The atmosphere comes in really strong right from the beginning, and although the game is widely praised by everyone who played it, and I can easily see why, I just don't find myself wanting to go back and play a 25-year-old game because of how outdated everything is. That's not a shot at Gothic at all in any way, that's just me letting myself be spoiled by modern games. Now on to the Gothic Remake. A Gothic Remake was teased back in 2019 with a playable teaser to go along with it. It has over 10,000 reviews on Steam, sitting at mostly positive. This was a clear sign to THQ Nordic that there was plenty of demand for a remake of the beloved Gothic. So then, officially, the Gothic Remake was announced in 2020. I actually played the teaser back when it came out, and although it was a little janky, I still had a lot of fun with it, and based off of just the teaser, I had planned on purchasing it as soon as it came out. We've had very little updates between now and that first announcement. That is, until the Gothic Remake demo, Prologue, released last week in February 2025. The game was developed by Alchemia Interactive, which is a studio created by the publisher THQ Nordic. From what I can tell, the studio was founded in 2021, and they dedicated that studio to be working exclusively on the Gothic Remake. THQ has a ton of games in development, so it makes sense why they would want to dedicate one studio to work on this project. THQ Nordic is a little bit strange because the games they have released go from pretty much totally unknown to pretty well known. Games like Destroy All Humans, Desperados 3, Elix, and a few more mildly successful titles. I was pretty excited to download and play the demo of the Gothic Remake. Before I go into it, I do want to say that none of this is stuff that can't be improved or fixed, and by no means is the game trash or beyond fixing. I kept my expectations pretty low, but I did have my hopes up a little bit from playing the original teaser. The funny thing is, after playing for just a few minutes, my very first thought was, wow, it took over 5 years to go from this to this? Besides better graphics, there was no clear upgrade from the teaser. The first thing I noticed that I didn't like was the player movement. I don't know if this explains it well, but I feel like the character was super heavy. I don't mean fat, I mean the controls were really unresponsive and clunky. I even found myself pressing down on the W key harder to try to get the character to move better. Apparently I'm not alone from the reviews that I've read, and it might sound like a nitpick, but player movement is something that you're going to be dealing with the whole time you play, so it's pretty important. I don't think it's worth going super into detail for every aspect, as this is just the demo, and there's not a ton here to talk about either. The combat feels super clunky and unresponsive, and it's really just not satisfying. I know it was pretty strange in the teaser with the directional combat, but I can't really call this a real step up either. Our player character looks like a really generic NPC, and maybe they're saving the really cool design for the full game, as they have made clear this is not the nameless hero from the original Gothic, but I think they could have done almost anything to make him have more personality. Like I said before, they mention in the start menu that this is not the nameless hero from the original Gothic. Please don't compare him or complain. I might be reading too much into it, but if you're so afraid of criticism that you state in your loading menu tips, telling players not to complain about something, I don't know, it just rubbed me the wrong way. I do my best to be understanding to the developers because at the end of the day, they're trying to remake a game that a lot of people love, and it's a lot of pressure. And I'm sure, or at least I hope, that they're aware there's no living up to everyone's expectations, there's no pleasing everybody, and there's no replacing the original game either. But instead of asking for people not to complain, I think it would have been much better if they had just had enough confidence in their game to make it the way they believe it should be made, and then deal with any criticism as it comes. I think that one little comment, along with the comment, with the help of the community, this could be a great game, gives me the impression that they don't totally believe in the project that they're making. They're not doing a Kickstarter or anything like that, so what do they mean by with the community's help? The community is kind of limited to feedback at this point. Obviously, I really hope that I'm wrong and that the remake is amazing and I'm just being stupid. But considering all the factors, for example, THQ releases have had some notable jank, and then the demo being pretty much the same with no real steps up from the teaser, the seemingly lack of faith in their project, and just how lackluster the game seems to be at this point, tells me that when the game does get released, it's going to be disappointing. Obviously, there's no living up to everyone's expectations and no game is perfect, but THQ is a pretty sizable publisher, so the funds should be there to get this done right. And also, the blueprint that they're working off of, the original, is great. It's Gothic. It's like all the ingredients for a great game are there, but for some reason, when I peek into the development oven, I don't see a cake that's half-baked. I see a lumpy casserole. Maybe when the time comes to try this finished product, I'll be blown away, and I really hope that's the case. But as of right now, in my opinion, the Gothic Remake's future is looking a little worrisome. I really wish the developers the best. The recipe for success is there. I haven't given up on the game at all, and on top of that, I'm just some YouTuber. I would really love to hear some other people's opinions and thoughts on this, so let me know what you think in the comments. I appreciate you watching the video. If you want to see more from me, I post once every other week on Sunday, so I'll never clog up your feed. I hope you have a good one. Peace out.